On today's edition of the Commanders Report, I'm going to tell you the 8 things that the Washington Commanders can do on Monday Night Football versus the Cincinnati Bengals in Week 3 to destroy this Bengals team and win by multiple scores. Now, before we get into it today, make sure you guys click that thumbs up icon if you haven't already. If you want the Washington Commanders to beat the Bengals this weekend here, or I guess it's not on the weekend, it's on Monday night. So make sure you click that thumbs up icon right now if you want to see a Commanders victory on Monday. Okay, now let's get to the first thing to dominate the Bengals. First thing you got to do is you got to win the penalty and turnover battles. You have to be the most disciplined team on the football field Monday night if you want to dominate this game. Okay, plain and simply. And to this point, they have not done a very good job in the penalty department. They have done a good job not turning the ball over. They did get that peanut punch on Devin Singletary last week against the Giants. So they have won the turnover battle to this point in the season, but it's still early, and this is going to be a football game where you cannot afford to turn the ball over if you want a chance to win, and if you want to dominate, you really can't be turning over the football. Then we get to the second thing to do to beat the Bengals this weekend, and that's the pass rush needs to emerge, okay, through the first 2 weeks. All right, it's been terrible. All right, 2 sacks, both of them going to Clelin Ferrell. All right, nowhere to be found is Jonathan Allen. Nowhere to be found is Daron Payne. Nowhere to be found is newly signed edge rusher Dorrance Armstrong. All right, you need to get something going here if you're Dan Quinn and Joe Witt Jr. Plain and simply because this is a very, very good passing attack here in Cincinnati, especially if Jamar Chase and T. Higgins are both playing. And, 2 sacks through 2 games, not very good, especially because the 2 teams that they have played, Tampa Bay and New York, they don't have the best O-lines in the world. So you need to get after them. You have to come up with a new plan, blitz linebackers, blitz a safety, blitz maybe with Mike Sainristil in the slot. Get creative because you need to get to Joe Burrow if you're going to dominate this football game. So predict it for me down there in the comments section. How many sacks will the Washington Commanders have this week against the Bengals? They have only had 1 sack in the last 2 games. So let me know what you guys think for this week or today's pinned comment. YouTube's going to throw you an ad break here in just a couple of seconds. And when they do, go ahead, find that pinned comment at the top of the comment section. And let me know how many sacks the Commanders are going to get this week. Another thing the Commanders need to do to dominate this football game is that the cornerbacks need to step up. So not only does the pass rush need to get after Joe Burrow, but Benjamin St-Juste and all these different guys on the Commanders' cornerback depth chart, they need to figure it out, man, because you got Jamar Chase and you've got T. Higgins, 2 extremely dynamic wide receivers. These guys are legit number 1 receivers, and they're on the same team. So the big question this week is whether Benjamin St-Juste and the rest of this Commanders secondary is going to be able to hold their own against these 2 players, because you might be able to double team Jamar Chase sometimes, but that's going to leave T. Higgins wide open, right? Emmanuel Forbes still having away after getting thumb surgery last week. Benjamin St-Juste is going to be your number 1 corner between Michael Davis and Noah Igbinoghene. I would probably rather go with Igbinoghene if I'm being completely honest with you. So it's going to be an interesting dynamic here. Definitely a mismatch in favor of Cincinnati. But if Washington can shock the world here and do a good job against Jamar Chase and against T. Higgins, oh my goodness, this team could absolutely pull off the upset on Monday night. So coming up here on the Commanders Report, more keys to dominance for this football team going up against the Cincinnati Bengals. But before we get into the rest of today's show, let's have a word from our sponsor here at Factor Meals. And now that football season is back, sometimes you just want something quick so you can just enjoy the games at home that day, whether it be a Saturday or a Sunday. But what if you don't want something super unhealthy? Then you can fuel your game day experience this year with our friends at Factor, and they have no prep, no mess meals with their menu of chef-crafted meals with options like Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, and even Keto to meet all of your dietary needs. Factor's fresh, never frozen meals are dietitian approved and ready to eat in just 2 minutes. So no matter how busy you are this football season, you'll always have time to enjoy nutritious, great-tasting meals right from the comfort of your own home. Make today the day you kickstart a new healthy routine. What are you waiting for? With 35 different meals and more than 60 add-ons to choose from every week, you'll always have new flavors to explore. Make your day delicious from breakfast to dessert and stay fueled with easy, nutritious options. Head on over to factormeals.com/CommandersChat50 and use code CommandersChat50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month. That's code CommandersChat50 at factormeals.com/CommandersChat50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month while your subscription is still active. A big shout out to Factor Meals for sponsoring today's edition of the Commanders Report. Now shifting to the offensive side of the ball and what the Commanders need to do to dominate in this football game. It all starts with the quarterback, Jayden Daniels, and he needs to dominate this football game. And he showed some really good things, throwing from the pocket, targeting the middle of the field, in the intermediate part of the field against the New York Giants last week. I want to see more of that this week. The Cincinnati Bengals defense is definitely, let's just call it, vulnerable to a good quarterback that can slice and dice them. Jayden Daniels is going to be Rookie of the Year material. I think this is a game for him to really introduce himself in front of a national audience on Monday Night Football. Really rooting for the kid this week. Then we get to really the big player on the Cincinnati defense that can destroy the Commanders' chances of winning this game, and that is edge rusher Trey Hendrickson. And he goes up against the opposing team's left tackle, and we know that the Commanders' left tackle situation is definitely shaky at this point. Cornelius Lucas and Brandon Coleman have shown some good things, but definitely a lot of bad as well, and Trey Hendrickson is a legit number one edge rusher in the National Football League. He's probably not a top 10 edge rusher, but he's definitely among the top 32 in the game today. So if the Commanders are going to get out of this one alive, and if they're going to dominate, one of these left tackles is going to have to really step up in this ball game. Then we get to Scary Terry, who needs to emerge. All right, not only does the pass rush need to emerge in this game, but Scary Terry, who's been very, very quiet to start his 2024 campaign, needs to emerge as that number one weapon for Jayden Daniels if they're especially going to win by multiple scores. Right now he has 8 catches for just 39 yards and no touchdowns, an average of less than 5 yards a reception. Right now, Terry's only getting the football really on dump-offs, screens, short game, that kind of stuff. You need to target this guy down the field. He's a great downfield threat. You got a quarterback in Jayden Daniels that can throw a great deep ball. I think defenses are definitely honing in on him. Lots of double teams on Terry McLaurin when you watch the Commanders film. Hopefully that changes this week, and hopefully Scary Terry can get it going. So make sure you guys click that subscribe button if you haven't already, because we have in-depth free Commanders content right here on the channel every single day. We're going to be going live for our live watch party on Monday night, breaking down this football game live with you guys, an hour of pregame, live play-by-play, and then immediate post-game reaction on Monday. So make sure you guys click that subscribe button for breaking news every time there's a big story for the Washington Commanders. Weekly live shows. We go live every Wednesday and every Commanders a game day, and it's all 100% free. So help us get to 20,000 subscribers right now. We are so close, guys. I really do appreciate your support. And now let's get to the rest of today's show. And now we got 2 more things to do here in order to dominate the Bengals. And the first one here of the final 2 is you got to get the run game going again. I think that the run game for the Commanders has legitimately been good to start this 2024 campaign, and it has exceeded my expectations. Cliff Kingsbury's not really known as like a run game guru kind of guy. He's kind of known more as an air raid guy. But Brian Robinson Jr. and Austin Eckler have been the bright spot of this Commanders offense to this point. They were really moving the football via the ground game against the Giants last week. Hopefully I can get it going this week once again. Then the final thing that you need to do to beat the Bengals is to dominate the red zone, because, listen, man, last week they did the exact opposite of that. The Giants defense dominated the Commanders in the red zone. The Commanders were undisciplined. There was lots of false start penalties, putting them behind the sticks, all this stuff. It was, JV stuff that the Commanders were putting out in the red zone. They were moving the football fine. They were moving the football all day long, but once they got into that red zone, 0 for 6, 0 touchdowns against the Giants last week. That is unacceptable if you want to win by multiple scores in this football game, and I'm definitely hoping that Cliff Kingsbury, Jayden Daniels, and this Washington Commanders offense comes ready to play on Monday night, because if I know the Cincinnati Bengals and I know the Washington Commanders secondary, I think Jayden Daniels and crew are going to have to score a lot of points to probably come away with the victory in this one. Now let me know down there in the comments section, what's the percent chance that Washington wins by multiple scores this week and dominate and destroy the Cincinnati Bengals? Put it on a scale of 0 to 100 for me down there in the comments section. For me personally, I'll probably give them like a 3 to 5% chance of winning by multiple scores. Honestly, guys, I think if the Commanders win this one, it'll most likely be a 1-score game, and Jayden Daniels is going to have to make a big play in the fourth quarter to make it happen. I don't really see the Bengals getting blown out in this one, but you never know in the National Football League, and we're going to be right here for our live watch party breaking it all down with you guys. So make sure you guys click that subscribe button right now, because we're going to be here breaking down everything that happens in this football game when it finally gets here. So make sure you click that subscribe button and join our family of almost 20,000 Commanders fans. Appreciate your support, guys, and until next time, raise some hell.